Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, it's time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Come on, touchdown, Indy! Woo! IU! America! They got a football team now!
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Tuesday, and a visit from one of our favorites, Jamie Shaw from On3, National Basketball Recruiting Analyst. How you doing, brother?
Jim, man, I'm doing good. I hope that you are.
Man, I see you got your Chase Briscoe hat on.
There we go.
It's Bassmasters. Are you a fisherman?
I am not at all. My wife got it for me, as she does with most of my clothes, and laid it out, and I just followed orders of what to put on today.
Oh my, that's nice. That let me ask you this: did she lay it out like a little man?
Yeah. Hat on the top, and then the shirt,
Yeah,
and the shorts underneath it.
Oh man, I know you've been
I don't know if I
busy.
should be saying that or not. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Well, hey, you know what? That people know you speak the truth that way, man. That's how you build credibility, baby. No, just kidding. There's been a lot going on all of a sudden with basketball, man. All over the Pangos going on. A lot of tournaments going on. It's happened. It's here and going right now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a wonderful time of year right now. There's lots of basketball being played. I mean, the AAU season's in full tilt. We have some high school scholastic stuff coming up here in June as well. Elite camps. It's a wonderful time for high school basketball right now.
Indiana as well. They had to fill an entire roster, and I'll be honest, it's not a roster that's going to make you go, wow. They did what they could in a short amount of time while they were filling a staff as well. But boy, they have really hit the recruiting trail. They have dove right into the recruiting waters with the big people, with the big guys, with the big players, with making these relationships with these guys. And it seems like they are making inroads out on the recruiting trail.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of the lifeblood of what a lot of programs are looking for. Obviously, the transfer portal is the big name, and as Indiana fans can see, over this past cycle, they brought in 10 or 11 or 12, however many it was out of the transfer portal. I don't think that's the direction that they want to go. I think more so what they want to do is build their team out of the high school ranks and patchwork it through the transfer portal. So get guys that have continuity within the program, get them when they're young, get them into the system, and have the guys for multiple years and grow, and let that kind of be the lifeblood, the foundation of what the program is going to be moving forward. It seems to be that's kind of the target that they're hitting in.
Yeah, they have one of those guys in Trent Sisley, who I expect to be a 3-4 year player for Indiana. He's a guy that's from Indiana, and I think that they're going to do very well recruiting the state of Indiana once they get entrenched. But you've got Drew Adams, who is from Bloomington South High School and has already been on staff at IU before. He is and his father, who is very entrenched in I think the staff that Darian DeVries has put together was ingenious. I mean, you've got Drew Adams, and you brought in Kenny Johnson. You get Rod Clark. He brings Nick Norton with him. I know that there's one I'm drawing a blank on a name, but different guys that really seem to have expertise in different places.
Well, for sure. And you have guys that have deep ties into the grassroots ranks. You have a guy like Rod Clark, who's a Midwest guy. You have a guy like Kenny Johnson, who's a DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area guy. And then obviously Drew Adams, Indiana guy. Look for those to be the central bases as to where Indiana is going to want to recruit. Kind of the Midwest, they've already offered Ethan Taylor of the MoCan program, the big 7-footer. The DMV area with Kenny Johnson, and then Indiana, obviously, you want to put a fence around your backyard. Bringing in Drew Adams was a great start to be able to do that with his ties to the state that they're in.
Yeah, it was huge, a huge get after he lost one of his other assistants. Now I'm drawing a blank, who went to become a head coach at Bradley, I think. I'm drawing a blank on his name. But anyway, I was surprised. We just had the opportunity to talk with Darian DeVries at an event down in southern Indiana, and I was a little surprised that they was not able to secure another guy at the 5 spot to really kind of concrete everything in. And he mentioned that there were going to be times that they were undersized, and I asked him what prevented them from being stronger at the 5. He just, he said what he had to say was he likes where they are with that. And that's Reed Bailey, a 6'10" guy, and then a couple of 6'8" guys in Sam Alexis and Josh Harris that will be mining the rest of the rim protection.
Well, a couple things with that. I want to hit on 2 points, but the first being the actual construction of the team. When you have it, I think that what you have at the 5 position are guys that can make plays with the ball in their hands. Sam Alexis, before his year at Florida, a versatile defender. He's also somebody who can knock down a shot. Obviously, Reed Bailey can score the ball and make a play out of that position as well. So what you have with those guys at the 5 position, you can even run them, some of them together. Alexis at the 4, Bailey at the 5, however you want to invert that as well. Of guys that can make plays, you can put the ball in their hands, run some actions off of them, and get open looks for guys around them in the half-court sets. So there's some intriguing offensive capabilities that they have with the guys that they have on the roster right now, while the traditional sense of having, a Bill Lambier or Rick Mahorn or Bill Whittington or somebody that likes to, in the traditional sense, bang at the 5 position and stuff. This is a little bit more spread the defense out and create lanes and spacing on the floor. Secondly, with that, the center position was the most sought-after position this offseason in the transfer portal with guys. The NIL collective prices of guys that were reported being significantly high, even over, kind of over market price, over market value of what they went for, and the numbers that they were being talked about and bandied about as well. So not only was there a limited amount of talent at the position, but it was also the most sought after position, causing the market value of stuff at the center position to be, higher than kind of possibly what it was they were willing to go for. So
like trying to find a solid offensive lineman. I mean, offensive lineman much maligned, but let me tell you, when it comes to the transfer market, they are a hot commodity.
Oh, 100%. You have an offensive lineman that hops in and everybody's looking at him. Everybody's going to make that phone call. It doesn't matter if the guy has stats or not. Kind of the same with the center position. If a guy's 6'11", 6'10" and up, and then if the guy has stats in college, it doesn't matter if it's low, mid, high, major. If the guy has stats in college is 6'10" and up, everybody in the country is going to go after him. So it's just a competitive market, and some people are willing to overvalue it, and some people are willing to stick to their guns and stay with what they were kind of set out to do from the beginning.
Yeah, and Indiana has been making a lot of offers as well out on the recruiting trail. They have, like I said earlier, they've dove right in, and with having guys that can go in different directions, but you've got Darian DeVries out there as well. And this is the major difference then from the previous 2 regimes. He's the one, he's out there in front. He's leading the parade. He's talking to these guys. He's forming relationships with these guys. He's a good guy to talk to, easy to talk to. And I think that was substantially younger, but he's got a little bit more relatability to these guys because he's closer to he's coached the younger guys here more recently, and they've got a video about Indiana's bringing the Bison back, and so they're making all this stuff, and they've got one where he's in Assembly Hall. He can still shoot the rock, baby. He was he's got some nice form, and he was dropping some, and he's a left-hander. So he was up there, but he just seems like a guy that you would really like as a coach. I've been the times I've been around him, I can see it. Very different than say Kurt Signetti. Those guys are very, very different personalities. As a matter of fact, when we were at that event, the basketball coach has been the featured speaker for 30 plus years, the entirety of it. This was the first time it was the football coach, but Kurt Signetti, how you gonna? Nobody. It'd be hard to follow that, man. And he was in rare form there too because it was an open setting. But I can see he's got just an easy, relatable personality. Indiana is going to be fine once they get past this year. Is my contention. They've got to just do what they can this season. And I don't know where they'll end up. I think in the upper half of the Big Ten, but probably between the middle and the bottom there somewhere. But next year, I think it's going to be substantially better. I think the recruiting is going to just take a huge uptick because it hadn't been all that great.
For sure. And speaking toward DeVries, he's got an energy. He's got a vibe about him that people are messing with. You know, you talk to recruits out on the trail, and you know, he's got a vibe and an energy that recruits notice. And they talk about. Obviously the Kenny Johnsons, the Rod Clarks are the ones that bring the recruits in, and they're the ones that cultivate the relationships and build like that stuff. But when DeVries gets on the phone, it's a big deal. Like they say, yeah, I talked to the head coach. I talked to he's a chill guy, his vibe, you know, all that good stuff. So, you know, there's an energy about the recruiting now with Indiana too. That's that's kind of back to where it was. It was a little bit. It was a little bit, dead maybe. I don't want that to sound negative or whatever, but it was different these last couple years. There wasn't excitement. There wasn't any of this type of stuff. Now, all of a sudden, you're starting to see a little bit of excitement around the Indiana name again in this class.
Yeah, it was being phoned in, to be honest with you. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You have to have relationships with these guys. I mean, seriously, they have to be entrenched in you. They have to trust you. And especially now, it's all about that. Indiana finally made their roster official. I think it was yesterday it came out, but some different guys. But they've gone after guys that were winners, whether it was all conference performer, whether they played on conference championship teams for the most part, adding guys like Josiah Miles from Miami, Florida, Jason Drake, another guard, Lamar Wilkerson. They've got a lot of shooters, a lot of guys that are going to be able to move the ball. There's going to be a lot of movement. And you have to do that, especially when you're undersized, obviously. But I think that this is going to be a fun offense for Indiana fans to watch this year.
For sure. I think that you're going to be able to see a lot of that. And I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, with the fives that they have, guys that can make plays with the ball in their hands. So you're able to draw the rim protectors out from the away from the basket and be able to have passing lanes and everything when you come with the spacing that they're able to bring because they have shooting. Now, traditionally, they don't have the traditional size, that you talk about kind of at the five position, but I think they have nice length at the 2 through 4 positions as well. So I think there's going to be some interesting stuff on the defensive end. You have Tatum Conaway, who's heat the ball up at the point of attack on the defensive end, and you have a whole bunch of guys that have length that are able to be gamble and get in the passing lanes a little bit and put pressure. If you don't have rim protection at the back of the end of it, you have to pressure the ball up top. I think they're going to have the length and stuff, kind of some switchability, versatility to be able to pressure the ball up top to be able to make a little tougher getting the ball down to the basket. Offensively, I think you're right. They have shooting. They have guys they have skilled guys. They have guys that can make plays. And that's kind of the way the basketball is going today is to have 5 guys on the floor that can make a play with the ball in their hands. That's tough to scout guys that can process, guys that can quickly get your team into something. So I think they have that. I think you're going to see a lot of inverse type offense. I think you'll see a lot of motion type offense. I think you'll see a lot of quick hitters and points. I think this is a skilled team. I think this team could surprise people. I know you're talking about middle of the road. I can see them kind of being in the middle of the top tier. The Big Ten is really good. It's a really good conference, as you know, as you get into the doldrums of January, February, and everything in the Big Ten. Those are battles. So I think this team has the potential to surprise some people in year one. I'm not talking about winning the league. I'm not talking about any of that type of stuff, but possibly doing a little bit better once they get into the groove as to how they're going to play come January, February.
Josiah Miles, an all ASUN, all conference performer, one of the guards that they brought in. Jason Drake, another one from Oak Park, Michigan. Lamar Wilkerson. You've got Connor Enright and Tayton Connerway. These are a lot. All of these guys can be playing. I don't know who's going to play and who's not, if not all of them.
I agree. Jason Drake, obviously an all-league guy. Josiah Miles can really score. You have Connerway at the point of attack. Enright, who's got familiarity with DeVries and what he has going, and then Wilkerson, who can really shoot the ball. There's a lot of different matchups, a lot of different looks that he's going to be able to give. Not only bringing the ball up the floor, but guys who can score it, guys who can finish plays, guys who can make plays. So the depth is something I think that's going to be interesting. They're going to be able to put, 5 different guards. They're going to be able to put 10 guys in the rotation on the floor and have a depth that can play toward a matchup. And I think that's the interesting aspect of it too, is they're going to be able to play toward matchups, especially in the backcourt, especially 1 through 4, and to kind of dictate the pace as to what they're looking to do while countering what the other team's doing.
Yeah, and one area where Indiana has just not been able to attack or had the players to attack has been from the wing position for a long time. It's been guard post. Now they've got a plethora of guys. Nick Dorn, 6'7", listed as a guard at 6'7", but I with all the guards they have, he's probably going to be squeezed out to the 3. But that's the good thing. They've got guys that can play the 2, the 3, maybe even the 4 at times. At 6'7", but then you've got Trent Sisley. Now he's the freshman who's going to come in and have to bang with these guys. Tucker DeVries, though, is a known commodity at 6'7". If he is healthy, what he can do.
Mm-hmm. For sure, and I think that all kind of plays into the lineup versatility that you're able to have. Going back in, you have Wilkerson, who can play some wing position. So some of those guys mentioned earlier are able to play that wing position. Josiah Miles as well, adding in with Nick Dorn at 6'7", like you said, a sharpshooter. He had a big game against UNC earlier this year. He shot 36% or so from 3, and he's just now kind of getting better and better as a player. His dad played in the NFL. His brother played at UNC as a football player. His other brother played at NC State as a team captain in basketball. So, Nick Dorn's got the athletic pedigree, and he's 6'7" and can shoot it. And you got DeVries, as you know. There's just a lot of different lineups that they're going to be able to put on the floor. A lot of different looks they're going to be able to give it. And as I mentioned before, I think they're going to be able to have length at those positions to let them play a little bit more big, possibly than initially thought, just because they don't have a true 5.
Yeah, and look at Purdue last year. They didn't have a true 5. I mean, you had Trey Kaufman-Wren, who was their guy. I mean, similar to Indiana back when they were running everything through Trace Jackson-Davis and Jalen Hood-Schifino. That can work when you've got a guy that can do that, but that team would have been really good had it had a Lamar Wilkerson or a Tucker DeVries or someone like that. That was what that team was missing. What this team has, I don't want to say in abundance, but it has, and that's the difference. Boy, that would have made that team probably a potentially Elite 8 team with that kind of talent.
For sure. What that team did, both those teams that you mentioned, that Purdue team last year and then the Jalen Hood-Schifino, Trace Jackson-Davis, they did a really good job of finding matchups that they wanted. They brought the ball down, got in the pick and roll. They were able to manipulate the pick and roll, get into the teeth of the defense, and kind of exploit the areas they wanted to on the court. It'll be interesting to see how DeVries does with this team. I'm not entirely sure that this is going to be a pick and roll type of team. I think it's going to be more spread, off-ball type stuff, exploiting matchups that way. But I think the versatility that this team brings, I think you're going to find 8, 9, 10 guys that can play on the floor at one time. I think you're going to find the rotation of guys that he can trust. They're going to pressure you, I believe. And I think they're going to be able to make shots. I think it's going to be fun. And I think, like I said, I think it could be a team that surprises people with what they do and the product they put out on the floor.
Yeah, and Indiana has been out, as I mentioned earlier, making a lot of offers to guys, and these are all elite players that they are going after and they're watching. They know what they need, and the fact that a lot of these players seem very, very receptive to Darian DeVries and his staff, and again, having the staff that he does is going to lead to success, in my opinion.
For sure. They're casting a wide net. You have two trains of thought this year because it's a down cycle in 2026 overall. You have guys that are trying to put their name out there and teams that are trying to get a bunch of offers and narrow it down and recruit like times of old. But you also have some teams that are narrowing it in, shooting for the stars with one or two guys. And if they don't get them, they rely on the transfer portal. It seems that Indiana is in the previous of those two trains of thought. They're casting a wide net. They're going to try to they're going to try to make a dent in this class. There's a handful of guys, not even a handful. They have a lot of guys out there that they like, a lot of guys that are putting offers out to, and a lot of guys that are investing time into, it seems like, and to be able to land a relatively larger class at the high school ranks, 3, 4, 5 guys. It looks like it's kind of what they're aiming to do. Obviously, it's very early in the cycle and got to get guys on campus. And, there's a long ways to go within this process, but it seems like they're okay with really padding the high school class this year.
4-star center Collins Onyejaka, one of the guys that they've offered. Bryson Howard, we'll talk about him. 7-foot Ethan Taylor. So you can see they're trying to expand what their roster will look like. But these guys are all top-notch players. Of course, Bryson Howard. That's the dude that's the son of the NBA player, right?
Yeah, Josh Howard.
Josh Howard. So he's a guy that's going to be highly in demand.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And the wild part about it was he just now bopped onto the scene. He's averaging 20 a game this year on the EYBL circuit, 45.5% from three. He was unranked across the board just a month ago. Dropped into our 2026 rankings yesterday at number 35 overall. Lefty. He's a late bloomer, but he's picked up 12 to 15 offers here in the past month. And, he's just a gamer, just as you'd expect, almost exactly like his dad, a two-way player, a guy who can scale up and down a lineup defensively, has great length, but can also finish plays offensively. The shooting 45% from three is great for him. That opens up a whole new avenue to his game. But he's somebody whose best basketball is ahead of him, somebody who's late to the scene, but is playing incredible basketball and continues to get better throughout his time.
Absolutely. And Indiana is laying out offers to a lot of these guys and in numbers. But some of these players like Anthony Thompson that we haven't even talked about, he plays for Indiana Elite. Mm-hmm. See, what is he ranked in number 5? All the new rankings, by the way, for On3 came out yesterday.
Yes.
And you can go to thehoosier.com and see where every single IU target landed in there, in addition to a complete list and comments about them. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com and sign up. They have a special $1 for the first month, 50% off the rest. Let me tell you, you're missing out because I was on just the On3 site last night and I'm like, I got to get off here and go to bed. There was so much you can read. It doesn't stop. The information is in more abundance than you can imagine. But
I tell you, Jim, you've assembled an awesome team there. They have their finger on the pulse as to what's going on. I know on the basketball side, they're staying on top of things. You have an awesome guy, Coyle, that does the scouting. You have Alec, who stays on top of the recruiting stuff. You've assembled a really good team there to kind of make a dent in that market. I'm really excited to see what the next, 6, 12, 18 months looks like for that site. It's a good crew over there.
Appreciate you. And they are great and they're doing a hell of a job. Absolutely. Stay on top of everything. Yeah. And I'm telling you, you're missing out because I can't even hardly keep up with everything that these guys are putting out. Alec asked me, did you read this story the other day? I was like, not yet, man.
It's in the queue, I promise.
It's but yeah, there are the information abundance overload. But Jordan Smith, 2026 shooting guard from Paul the Sixth High
Yeah,
School.
Paul the Sixth, yeah.
And team takeover. Caleb Gaskins. These are all for EYBL circuit. Cameron Williams, Ethan Taylor, Taylor Kennedy, Tony Bryant, Latrell Almond, Bryson Howard, Davion Atkins, Trey Thompson. Let me know when I've said somebody who's not an elite player. Cole Clower, Sammy Jackson, Collins, Anye Giacca. I just mentioned him earlier, but the list continues. You have to go to the Hoosier.com to get it all, but they're out attacking the recruiting trail like you're supposed to. You're not going to get all these guys. You're not going to get a lot of them, but you don't expect to get a lot. You expect if you can get 2 or 3 of these guys, it depends on what your numbers are going to be. But now for Indiana next year, they're going to have holes to fill because they probably have a lot of portal guys that have 1 year of eligibility. I'm not looking at that schedule right now.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that you can see with that too is they're targeting guys. They're targeting groupings of guys that it seems like they're going to go after. You have guys like Jordan Smith and Taylor Kinney who are able to establish play at the point of attack at the lead guard position. You have length on the wings, guys who can really shoot the ball and make a play on the wings with guys like Cole Clower and Anthony Thompson and guys like that. Then you have guys on the block, Ethan Taylor, Collins Anye Jakwu, and Tony Bryant, guys at the 5 position who can really establish. So it seems like he's finding what he wants in players, guys who can establish the point of attack, length and shooting on the wings, and then true anchors on the block at the 5 positions. And he's offering all that type of player at each position that he likes. So it's interesting to see kind of those trends as players and teams kind of start to develop their identity.
Yeah, and you wonder, all right, how many of these guys are they going to land, and how much of the portal is going to play a role every year.
Yeah.
And look at the teams like Florida and Alabama. They didn't need the portal. What they got were guys pulling back out of the NBA draft. How strong has Florida become because of that?
Well, it'll be interesting because what Florida had last year was they had 3 guards who were 3 of the best guards in the country, with Elijah Martin, Will Richard, and Walter Clayton. You had 3 of the best guards in the country. So replacing those 3 guys is going to be interesting. It's a tall task. Obviously, Boogie Flan, you bring in A.J. Brown, you bring in Xavier and Lee. They're good players and everything. But Will Richard, Elijah Martin, and Walter Clayton were great players. So it'll be interesting to see how they're able to step up and take that. What they do have is they have depth on the block. So you got the bigs coming back. You got a little versatility. They're talking about Thomas Howell, the 6'9" guy, being able to play at the 3 a little bit, along with Ruben Chinle, along with Micah Hamilton, along with Alex Condon. They have talent. They have guys. It'll be interesting to see how the backcourt holds up, especially to the expectations that last year's backcourt set.
Are you at the famed Augusta National Golf Course, or is that bird chirping pumped in like CBS?
Yeah, the bird is pumped in. It's ambiance.
I did that. Todd Leary had the same thing going the other day. I'm like,
I got my pimento cheese sandwich here beside me too, and my drink.
Oh my man, you've got it all going on. Are you a golfer, by the way?
Man, so I grew up in North Myrtle Beach, so I grew up playing golf quite a bit. I haven't been able to play since I got into the scouting world over the past decade or so, but I've had a lot of rounds of golf in my lifetime.
Well, hopefully you'll get up this way sometime, and we'll have to hit it out there. Now there's a lot going on right now. Have you been out and about anywhere?
Yeah. No, I've been to various events. I've got various events coming up. We got the NBA camp coming up and USA Basketball U19 coming up. I've been to EYBL, Puma Circuit, watching Adidas and all that type of stuff. So yeah, been out and about and all over the place.
Have you seen any of these guys recently? Price Alexander Moody, Collins Onyeka, Sammy Jackson, Cole Clower, Indiana Trey Thompson, any of them that jumped out and that really grabbed your eye?
Well, I guess when it comes to that list right there, Trey Thompson and Collins both took pretty significant jumps in the ranking yesterday. Collins jumped to from a 3-star to a 4-star. Trey Thompson did the same thing. I believe Trey ended up maybe in the 55-ish range.
55 right there. Yep.
But yeah, no, been able to watch them. Collins, what he is he's a ferocious force on the block, a 5-man who plays as a 5. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 5 to 10 feet within the basket, goes after rebounds, and establishes presence on the paint. Trey is a sharpshooter. Trey is about 6'8" and can really, really shoot the ball. So he his shooting prowess has gotten him probably a dozen offers over the past few weeks as well. Likes of UConn came through and a whole bunch of programs like that. So, those are two guys that are good. Prince Alexander Moody is a nice little role player, can fit into a lot of different situations, has good size and length. Obviously, the Kenny Johnson pipeline there with the team takeover in the DMV area on that one.
Yeah, Trey Thompson, 44% 3-point shooter. That's all right. That ain't bad.
Yeah, for a 6'8" guy, that's the ability to stretch the floor. And again, that goes back to the kind of the identity that it seems like he wants to have in that Tucker DeVries kind of role, continuing what has success onto the next generation of player. And it seems that they've identified that with Trey Thompson. And they're excited to move forward with that.
Yeah, and that's something that Indiana fans have not had the opportunity to see shooting for about a decade, and which is crazy because it's something that they saw for decades.
Yes.
And then it just disappeared, which makes no sense. But that will be over soon, without question. But yeah, you had the football coach at the Huber's event last week asking the audience kind of jokingly, "Hey, give the basketball coach a little time." A little bit of a switch going on at Indiana, let me tell you, man.
Hey, the Hoosiers are a football school now, right?
There you go. There you go. Hey, with the personality that Kurt Signetti has,
he's electric.
It's hard. He is, and he just draws that great attention, and it's fun. It's funny. Most people like it and take it for what it is, but I can't. I'm jacked for football season, man. I can't wait. But
I would be too. I mean, what they did last year and coming into this year, it seems like they have some momentum coming in too. It's basketball is incredible. It's my life. I love every second of watching a basketball game, but there's something about having a good football team that kind of sets the trajectory of a university into another stratosphere. And then if your basketball team's good too, you go right into basketball season. The athletic department's just kind of a good thing. But there's something about having a good football team that just kind of sets the tone, sets the pace for a university.
Yeah, because you get to do things that you don't get to do. The tailgating.
Yeah.
The tailgating brings a community of fans together that you can't get in basketball. Yeah, they're inside at the game, but it's completely different. So yeah, that tailgating thing, the community kind of thing. Yeah, you're right, exactly. And when your football team sucks, it just puts a damper on it. You're like people waiting. God, please, basketball
100%.
season, come on. But we won't have to worry about that. Somebody just had a question. Andy, oh, there we go. Curious, Jamie's latest take on Sammy Jackson. Decide later this month. Sounds like it's Texas, IU 1-2.
Yeah, so Sammy Jackson is an intriguing player. Obviously, his dad, Mark Jackson, played in the NBA for a little bit. His brother's about to be a freshman, I believe, at Canisius, possibly. Sammy's an intriguing player. He just came out with the top 4. Both Texas and Indiana were involved with it. Obviously, Texas, the staff got a head start on him a little bit when they were at Xavier. And they've been recruiting him for a couple years. There's a possibility, though, that he might want to stay a little bit more local to his Philadelphia home. It'll be interesting to see how the visits go and all that. Sammy's an interesting player. He's a 6'6", 6'7" guy who kind of plays as a point guard for his high school team and for his AAU team. He's had multiple 4, 5, 6 assist games out there. He's an offensive hub to make plays with the ball in his hand and create for others, elevate the floor of his team in a unique manner. His ability to quickly process with the ball in his hands in the half court, again, I keep saying the word unique, and I don't want to harp on it, but he's unique in that way. But yes, Indiana, Texas are 2 schools to watch for, and it'll be interesting to see how the visits go.
Anybody else out there that seems to be trending IU's way? I know it's early.
Yeah, it's super early. I think they're in the mix and still trying to get a feel of the targets that they're going after. Sammy's in a unique spot that he wants to get it done early. He wants to get it done June, July timeframe, and he wants to go ahead and get that process going. A lot of these guys are waiting until football season. They want students to be on campus and to get feel the atmosphere and stuff. And a whole bunch of schools are wanting to do that same thing as well because they don't want to go first and be an afterthought. But they also were gearing up for the transfer portal and stuff, so they weren't able to really dig into this class like they had been in the past. So super early in the process. There's going to be a lot of stuff, and I think what we're going to see here at the NBA camp, I think what we're going to see here in July at Peach Jam, and even in June Scholastic stuff, we're going to start to see the boards form. We're going to start to see who the schools are targeting, who they're going after, and who they're really wanting to get in, and then we'll start to see some visit dates for the September timeframe probably start coming up pretty soon.
What's your next stop, my friend?
I will be at some team camps coming up, and then my next big event will be next week at the NBA Top 100 camp. After that, USA Basketball U19, and then 2 weeks of the June Scholastic live periods where the high school teams are able to have team camps and college coaches come watch. And then it's Peach Jam and Adidas championships and Puma championships and Under Armour championships. And these next probably 45 days are going to be very few spent in my own bed.
I hear you, brother. It's you got to make hay when the sun's shining, right?
There we go.
Well,
Fun time.
We look forward to catching up with you again, and appreciate you so much as all you do. Greatly appreciate your visits, my friend.
Jim, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all you're doing. Obviously, as you can see, On3 is on an upward trajectory. So I'm just glad to have y'all as part of the team, and excited to see what the future brings. And keep doing a great job, man. You're really making a dent in that Indiana, that market. And, it seems to be a market that's got a lot of excitement around it right now.
Definitely so. We would greatly appreciate that. The great Jamie Shaw, you're missing out if you're not a subscriber to thehoosier.com On3 with tons of information, whether it's basketball recruiting, football recruiting, all kinds of information that you can't get anywhere else because they're breaking the stories, baby. Appreciate you, my friend. You're one of the best.
Jim, thank you.
You betcha. Jamie Shaw joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Hello, everyone. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you, as always, for listening to our content. But for more in-depth coverage on the Indiana Hoosiers football, basketball, and recruiting news, go to thehoosier.com On3. Now with On3 and great national writers like Ari Wasserman, Andy Staples, and Steve Wiltfong for football, Pete Nakos, Jamie Shaw, and Joe Tipton's constantly breaking stories on the basketball side. And the local coverage from Alec Lasley, Kyler Staley, and Zach Browning. You can catch something new every day at thehoosier.com. Go there. Sign up today.